if you want to be able to stand tall and be proud of what has been done, you need to do it the right way. You owe it to yourself, right? An award is for who to see. Really, it's for who to see, right? Does it really matter that much to have to resort to this? If you are willing to bend for once, you'll be willing to bend for many times down the road.
I understand.
I don't believe.
I agree.
I don't believe in this, you know? And if let's say you need the money, then my question is your money more important than everybody else's money?
Welcome to the Authentic Advisory Podcast. Hi, Khim.
Hi, Ben.
Thank you for taking the time out.
Most welcome.
Yeah, I know you've
Yeah.
been busy, and of course, with all your personal life, handling 2 young daughters
Yes.
and everything else, it's been a lot, right? So, first of all, again, thank you for taking the time. Now,
Thank you for having me, Ben.
yeah. So for those for those who's watching this show and listen to the podcast, right? Maybe share with us, a little bit more about yourself. I mean, of course, I don't know everything about you, but of course I know bits and pieces of you. But I think, let the audience, let them know, how long you've been in the industry, how do you join, and, just a little bit more context about you. Yeah.
Okay. All right, so Ben, I've been in this line for 23 years. I started in the year 2000 as a fresh graduate out of NTU. And then it's been the first and only trade, but of course I've shifted in terms of representation. I've changed companies, and yeah lah.
23 years. And just curious, what were you studying back then?
Bachelor of Business, but specializing in hospitality and tourism.
Oh,
Yeah, so it's all about the human touch,
Yeah.
all about service, all about leaving an impression and generating people coming back on a regular basis.
Yeah. And what got you into this industry? Is it like a internship or you kind of at least for me, right, it's kind of my gen is already kind of you study halfway, then they ask you go internship, then just nice, you end up in the advisory. So how did you enter this?
Okay, let's just say that we did internship definitely, but of course in the process we discovered that being in the service line, if you're doing MICE industry, the meetings, incentives, conventions, or if you're doing other parts like the hotel line or the other parts of the tourism industry, for example, then work hours are more irregular and you don't have a say in your own timetable planning.
Yeah.
So because of this and of course some other factors, actually I discovered this industry by chance. Because when I graduated, that's the time when the Financial Advisors Act came into play. And then the new terminology came in, and people were known as financial advisors. And there were a lot of advertising going on in terms of recruitment in newspapers. So that's how I sort of got into the industry a bit by chance.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
And from then till now, right, of course you have achieved all the accolades, multiple COTs, MDRTs and everything else, right? But I'm just curious though, was it these awards and these accolades, right? Are these also okay, you just go along with the process and then somehow you hit it? Or is it more like okay, 今年 or next year I die have to hit MDRT kind? How was that journey? Because nowadays everybody is running for 6 months MDRT, that kind of stuff. How was your journey, getting these accolades and achievements?
Okay, I would like to stress that for my personal view, accolades are definitely a plus in the sense that it affirms the work that you do. Not getting it, however, doesn't mean that you're nothing. No, that's not the point. But you must know how you went about the process of achieving it. So I believe in the spirit of getting an award, but I don't think that you should be specifically just looking at chasing an award at all cost. So you must know why you do what you do, how you intend to do it, and if along the way you push yourself to work harder, for example, and to do better, and in the process get an award, all right, fantastic. That's really really a nice pat on the back kind of thing, But if you've done good work and you've been diligent, but if you don't hit the award, then of course you just ask yourself whether you want to streamline some of your processes, you want to change the way you work in general, but maintaining a certain set of principles and a viewpoint on ethics, for example, should stick on, and then you reformat your workflow. Yeah, to try to achieve a certain level of recognition. Achievement, I think, is more for self-validation than anything else, because if you have an achiever's mindset, you just want to achieve.
Yeah.
But you must be careful how you go about this process so that you don't lose yourself.
Has that mindset always been the case for you, Kim? Since maybe, your first MDRT or the first few years in the industry, was it always the case of like, you know what, I'm not going to stress myself over awards, I'm just going to follow the process and then do things right, and stuff like that? Or was it more like, at the beginning few years was like, okay, 老板讲要做 MDRT, then okay, you jump for it kind. Then after that, over the years, you gradually transit into, whatever that you said just now.
No, Ben, I would say that right from the onset, it has been like that. Because I look at, of course, the industry will tell you, oh, you should strive for this, you should strive for that. But I always ask about the how it's being done. I look at people around, I explore and think in my mind, oh, how did these people get their award? Then I ask certain questions, like, for example, if someone was able to sell 30 of the same product to 30 different people within a day's time frame, then I ask myself, have you done...
Has that really happened?
Yes, really. There was a fellow agent that did this level of sales.
Okay.
She comes into the office and then she brings her whole stack of forms in, and then I go like, oh, wow, so what happened? And she's like, oh yeah, I sold this product. I'm like, this product? How do you know that all 30 people would need this product? I think to myself, how can that possibly be achieved? So did you do your background check for each and every individual out there? Are we sure that this product is definitely a value add for each and every individual out there? So I think about questions like that, and I challenge myself in terms of, is it possible to only do well and not bear in mind the doing right? So to me, it's okay to take a slower process to achieving that first mark.
Yeah.
But I want to get it right, and after that, I believe that people recognize the way you do, and they will help spread word for you, and then it should just go on and on.
Yeah, I remember you. Now they mentioned, I remember the time, last year when I invited you to a sharing. I remember your team was like, do good, do right.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Yeah. And then how do you, right now, if let's say, in this generation where there are new advisors or even people who are 5-6 years in the business, right? They are always chasing after those sales targets. Or there are two groups of people, right? Sometimes it's like, one group is like, okay, I don't have money or I need money, so I need to, want to take shortcuts in a not so adequate way.
Okay.
The other group is like, I'm nearing a particular award, but just that shortfall, and then, they just top up a little bit. Yeah, so if let's say, either situation is, let's say there's an advisor right now, two advisors, one in this situation, no money, the other one is about to reach the COT or whatever, and they want to take that kind of shortcuts, what would you say, or what would your advice be? Because because if you really think about the situation, 一个真的是要需要钱 the other one is like so near to that, right? Yeah, so for me, of course, I was telling one of the advisors back then, I said is you can have it, you can do whatever ways you want, you can have it, but then again, you yourself know
you know in your heart how you did it. Is there pride in receiving such an award, truly speaking? I'll tell you, right, I'd rather challenge myself to run to the very last minute, and if I miss it, I miss it. But I owe it to myself to give it the best effort try before the deadline is up, before the clock strikes 12. If I have to call for help to make things happen, as in back-end support from all the various providers, all the BDMs, all the whoever is processing your case on the back-end in the system, then I call for help. That's all right. But on the client front, there's nothing you should do to pressure anybody to buy something that they don't need or they don't want at that point, just to make yourself hit that target. I don't believe in that. I mean, even if work is done that way, at the end of the day, what pride is there? Seriously. Right? I think in our hearts, we all know how we achieved our own awards. If you want to be able to stand tall and be proud of what has been done, you need to do it the right way. You owe it to yourself, right? An award is for who to see. Really, it's for who to see, right? Does it really matter that much to have to resort to this? If you are willing to bend for once, you'll be willing to bend for many times down the road. I don't believe.
I agree.
I don't believe in this, And if let's say you need the money, then my question is your money more important than everybody else's money?
Wow, that's powerful.
Right? There are so many ways to make money. Just do things right. Maybe this life for the time being, you need to give it time to grow. then you need survival, then do other things to survive as well. You know, like at the onset, I will say, okay, there were little things that we did that is not in conflict with the work that we do, because remember that we hold a license. So don't resort to stuff that's in conflict with the work that you're doing. But small side deals like joining a focus group for some pocket money that they give you, or for example participating in a friend's project and they pay you certain hourly rate, for example, give tuition, find another sidekick thing.
Even now doing Grab is like so easy.
I mean, do something so that your main, whatever you're focusing on, remains the focus. Don't get yourself distracted, and then at the same time, make sure that you plow in enough effort and hours in this to see to it working. Yeah, so you have to find a way. I think that when there's a will, there's a way. Of course, you run within the boundaries so you don't get yourself in trouble. Yeah, remember, you need to ask yourself whether this is a marathon for you or is this a sprint. There are many sprinters in our line.
That is true. That is true. But how do you then like convert, or rather how do one, if let's say let's say I'm a sprinter for now, right? You know, looking at 6 months, 1 year, you know, that kind of stuff. Like, how does one cultivate, you know, like I mentioned, the mindset, or do the transition of like, I should play this longer term than just a 6 month, 1 year kind of thing?
I think you need to ask yourself why you do what you do. Why are you in this trade? Do you believe in the story behind it all, the reason behind it all? Because we are handling people's money. It is hard earned. They put in their hours to earn it, and we are helping them to grow their wealth. So we have a certain level of responsibility in terms of the advice that we dish out. Then the decisions that the clients make hinges on how we help them in coming to the decisions and executing them. So we have a good level of responsibility towards others. We need to see things from this light and then ask ourselves, how long do we want to be in this line? To me, I feel that from the first client I sign, I'm responsible. You know, I'm responsible. So I need to help myself survive so that I can service that person when they need me. Like, nobody knows who, you know, when one person goes in the hospital, one person passes on. Or, for example, when they need money because their business conk off, you know. We don't know these things, but our work revolves around all these intimate details to every single individual that crosses our path. So what do you want to be remembered for? Right? We need to think deep, why you do what you do, how you live your life, what are the values that you set for yourself as you conduct business. You know, I think that we have the privilege of a very special role in the lives of the many people that we come across. So we have to be responsible. And being responsible includes, of course, getting yourself educated well. Know what's out there in the market. Understand how to do analytics. Understand how to view investments. You know, and then follow through with the client along the way. Of course, at the onset, maybe you don't have that much self-confidence. You take a little bit of time to build that up. But the least you can tell yourself is, where's the boundary? Right? What will you do for success? What price will you pay for success? I think that in the midst of getting there, it is easy to, but it is important not to lose ourselves. Yeah, to recognize who we are as an individual, what values we live by, right? Of course, money is tempting, but I say you need to be able to live with money that you get on your hands.
That is strong. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that makes sense.
Or be able to laugh and still, you know, keep your friends by your side.
Yeah.
Right? How do you do this? Right? Yeah. So you need to ask yourself, okay, how do you want to deal with people?
Yeah.
You know, what do you want to tell them? Touch your heart, you know. Why do you do what you do?
And that being said, right, Kim, so, you know, all the things you said, right, you know, when I met like over 1,000 advisors individually and having all these conversations with them, right, even coaching our own advisors, I you know, for the large part, like 80-90% of the time, it's like, I can tell like a lot of advisors truly, like you said, really want to do good, do right, you know. Yes, accolades, achievements important, but like, they don't want to betray themselves, right? However, there's always this pressure, right? Whether is it explicit or implicit from the management or even from the peers around them, right? And for example, from the management standpoint, I mean, of course you were from a producer all the way until a management, now a director, right? So of course, there's always been like, okay, management have to track KPIs, which is their job, right? It is their job. It's
Yes.
nothing wrong, right? So how does one balance or manage that tricky situation whereby, okay, you know what? Based on let's say I'm producer right now, based on where I am, I might not be able to hit this particular award. I will still do okay, but I might not hit it. And I'm not going to rush myself or stress myself or do something wrong. But then on the other side, right, the management will be like, hey, you say this year is your 2 MDRT, a COT, and then it's like, how many appointments, why you only get so, yeah, right? And then it's like, and I think like a lot of advisors don't really like the kind of conversation where the management keep like backing on numbers, even though, in my opinion, I'm sure I might be wrong, even though I feel like it's the management's role to track KPIs, right? Yeah, but how does, as a producer, as an advisor, how does like one navigate that? Because I can tell also, like I went to management in the industry before, right? So like as a manager, we also don't really like to, keep pointing at numbers, and we also don't really like that conversation. So how would you? I mean, you've been here for 23 years, right? So like, how do you one like manage that, Khim?
I think you need to have a level of accountability to yourself first and foremost. Know what you truly want to do, and then break that down into goals, bite-sized goals, and then monitor yourself. So you first have to be able to account to yourself. After that, then you are supposed to account to your high-level management, definitely. And then I also want people to understand the position of a manager. If the manager does nothing at all, truly you ought to be concerned. Okay,
agree.
because the manager has responsibility in molding how you turn out in your career, right? So their role is to not just sometimes say what is not so nice and pleasing to your ears, but also to encourage you along, to prod you along, but more importantly, to also be there for you when you need help. So different advisors will have a different need. Some really need a lot of tender loving care, TLC. Some they'll just tell you, no, dear, you don't bother me until at a certain point when I need your help, I will call you. And they truly call. So I think the key thing is to manage your relationship with the manager. Help them to understand who you are, and what is holding you back, for example. Be able to speak up about some of these fears that you have. So, example, one of my advisors were just telling me, dear, I don't really know how to use this Zoom thing. Then I go like, okay, I'm coming to your house. We're going to look at your system and make sure that with that one visit, you can settle this already. Okay, so they must feel comfortable to tell things to their manager and build that level of trust. I will say something, it's like children, all right? When we talk to our children, what do we look out for as parents? We look for effort. Effort is important. I agree, effort translates into results. However, we know that not all effort gets you the same level of results.
Agree. Yep.
Right? But we need to minimally see effort. Then after that, if we see an issue with the workflow, is to address, okay, what is the issue with the workflow? How do you want to tweak? How do you want to change? Right? So as long as there's effort and there's ability on the part of the advisor to say that, right, I'm humble enough to be taught. Tell me what I need to change. And I will examine and put effort in that along those lines. I think the manager should be a happy manager, right? To look at process, effort, not just the end result. Yeah, I mean, we are all doing sales. We know that it's not something that you can absolutely control, but with a certain level of effort, you can roughly get the end result just because of conversion. What's our ability to convert a prospect to an end client, right? Yeah, so that part we know. Yeah, so I think advisors just need to recognize that there's responsibility on the part of the management. Their job is to help you. If they don't talk to you about numbers, something is also wrong.
Yep.
If they talk to you about numbers, be honest. Answer what you can. And then tell them what you're prepared to do. Most importantly, tell them how they can help you. Okay, because your manager maybe read you wrongly, they think you need a everyday call type, but actually you prefer not, tell them so they know how to react as well.
That was good. Yeah, because like sometimes it's like this is my belief, right? I think like when someone comes in as an advisor, and then there's the manager or director that is with them, right? I personally believe that I think both parties, their objective is the same, which is earn more money, have a greater life, impact
Yes.
clients, right? Like the objective is the same.
Yeah.
I think what sometimes is not aligned is probably just maybe the methodology, right? I literally just, I can't mention names, right? But I literally just a couple of weeks ago, I have one of our advisors tell us and said that she had her senior management or IO, right, tell her to do something that's not so ethical, like cash rebates, that kind of stuff, right? And then when she said, when this client of mine said like, she don't want to do it.
Sus.
Yeah, sus. Yeah. So when she said she didn't want to do it, right? Yeah, then she got shouted at,
Ah.
right? So in these kind of situations, now of course, this lady was just 25, 26 years old, pretty young, but she has straight, like her core values like strong, right? So she just like screw it, right? And then just walk out and so. But, in these kind of cases, right, where you still have to go back to report your KPIs, and stuff like that, then the relationship will kind of like strain, right? How would you then go around that or resolve that, right? When you clearly know, like the other side, they literally tell you to do not so good things.
Very, very good question. Ben, I will just say this. Our internal radar will tell us when the other party is not a good fit where values are concerned. I think values are things that you find difficult to change in another person. And because it's such an important part of our lives, it is important to be aligned in this aspect together with your direct manager. If it comes to a point because people do change, right? So sometimes it may not be at the onset it didn't work right, but subsequently things change, etc. Or they feel pressure, they decide to take a different stand. Then you yourself have to decide what to do and what not to do. But you are right, we need to manage. So if let's say there was an outburst, then you have to decide on your own whether it's something that you can still carry on. Can you overlook or can you not? Then if you can't, then I would just say straight to you, plan your exit. So in the meantime, just loan first, because in the meantime, you still need to be there, but you need to work out your exit plan already. Yeah, but if you really feel that you can work with somebody, although you have a clash of values on something as basic as whether it is legal, illegal, that kind of issue, then may I suggest to you that unfortunately, I think where legality is concerned, don't play with it. Now we're playing with fire.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
Yeah, playing with fire.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's so important, right, Kim? It's like...
Yeah, don't waste time, really. Don't waste time.
It's like 价值观 is like core values.
Yes.
Without core values, we'll just be like, animals or like...
Yeah, 赚这样多钱有个屁用？你开心吗？你自豪吗？
And there's always like, the peace of mind always get affected, right? Because you know deep down, right, at the back of your head, it's like, this, like you did something.
The best salesperson can only be their best when their heart is at ease.
Oh, I love that.
Okay? When you're happy internally, it flows out.
Yeah.
The client knows.
Yeah.
They can feel it.
Yeah.
Okay? So you need to be happy. You need to have the right setting.
Yeah.
Yeah. Then people change, we acknowledge it. If it's not the right fit, then move on.
Yeah, oh my God, Kim. That's why I love having conversation like this. Like we had something like a chat like this, like I think a year plus ago, right? Where we talk about like core values and a lot of things like we tell our advisors, clients, right? I told them, say like, like if you can find fulfillment, purpose, and really happier in the things and enjoying the process, right? Our clients can feel it, the prospect can feel it.
Yes.
And then like everything will be aligned, people can. You talk about like I love the quote. You said like the best salespeople are the one we have ease in their hearts, right? I think is when you have that, you have peace, and this also means that you have 100% conviction and confidence in the things that you say because you know that your intentions are right.
Correct. You need to know also from the management viewpoint, you want to find someone who can back you up there, right? We are not there just to share good times, right? Like good friends, right? Me and you good friends, right?
Yeah.
Good times, bad times, we are still friends.
Correct.
Yeah. If let's say we are only friends for good, then what kind of friendship is that truly, Ben? Right? Then anybody also can be your friend for good.
That's true. Oh my God. I'm sure you heard stories like this. You know, I did have another one which is like I think some cold call stuff, then PTPA or whatever, right? Because the leads were bought by one of the managers and whatnot. And then what happened was like, end up kind of compliance.
How?
Then you know what happened? The moment she get caught into the compliance, like the interview and all that shit, right? When she asked for help from the manager, which by the way is her friend somehow that got her in, nothing. Like just try to ignore, just try to like, siam, right? Because like kind of compliance and everything else, Then end up like poor lady, she left at the end of the day.
Broken hearted.
Oh, I think she was really sad. Because it's like, when at FA, when you join, then it's like you really trust, like, you真的 trust, put your heart in, and then like, there were good times I have, right? Drinking, everything I celebrate, incentive. But then when shit happens, it's just like,
Yeah, so look for the people who can stand behind you when things happen. Of course, we want to acknowledge that people do make mistakes.
Yeah.
But if it's a mistake, we need to be able to learn from it. Yeah, and keep improving. Right? There's no perfection, right? But we don't want to make the big mistakes that could kill your career.
yeah.
So steer clear. If your heart tells you that something is not right, don't do it. Don't. It's not worth the risk.
Some people not convinced though. You know what I mean? Like there are some people that's just not convinced, right, Kim? Which is like, 我了解. But then like, the money is there, and then it's like they always think like it will never be found out. Like, they realize they were just thinking that small, but hey, how would anyone know the things they do, right? Like, if they do.
This one, you have to decide for yourself. Okay, to me, whatever I do is transparent to a higher authority. So they can see whatever happens. The truth will always be the truth, and it will always come to light.
Do you have any, because you've been so long in the industry, right? I think easily 3 times. Longer than me. 3 times. I'm like, only.
So old, right?
Hey, but Kim is so young, That's why I love to have a conversation with you. So, have you seen or observed? So, to me, right, I always believe, where they call it karma, cause and effect or whatever, right? So, it's like if you do something unethical or something bad now, you might not get the effect, maybe the consequences tomorrow, right? But at some point in time, maybe 1, 2, 3 years later, right, it will definitely catch up with you, right? Have you seen anyone that so far, because I just want to see whether is this principle true, which is anyone that, maybe that maybe 20 years ago, right, they do some stupid shady shit, and then like 20 over years later, they're still very successful, or do most of them just kind of like, disappear and then like fell out based on the knowledge?
That's a tough one to answer. Because those that get discovered, then obviously they disappear from the radar, right? But those that you sort of have a gut feel, then it's, in your heart that it's a time bomb. We're just waiting for a time for it to happen, Yeah, and I think that it's important to keep yourself grounded all the time. So, in terms of chasing accolades, always know that there's no end to this thing. Yeah, but if you feel the pressure to just, hold a certain accolade, then my question is, what price are you prepared to pay for it?
What price are you prepared to pay for it?
Yeah, I mean, we have seen advisors like get hauled to court because, these are top producers of certain firms, but I'm not sure. Maybe that certain year they just felt they wanted to meet a certain mark or something, so then that becomes a fake deal. Then it gets uncovered, and there you are. You're going to jail. License is lost forever. Your namesake is out in the papers for a wrong reason. Is it all worth it?
I know yours got on the newspaper for the right reason. Right, yeah, that's recently I saw that. Yeah, amazing. So, I'm just curious, Kim. So, I know, and correct me if I'm wrong, I know that of course you have like amazing clientele, like for example, people of let's say mass affluent with a high net worth, right? PPs, bankers, lawyers, doctors.
Yep.
Yeah, so, I just wanted to find out also and understand like how did these clients or these people, right? How do you get exposed to them? How do you kind of like quote unquote acquire them at some point in time, right? Is it like a, because everybody, for context, right? Because everybody is like, okay, I do MDRT, they do a few years, and then like, in order to get to COT or whatever, then they're like, I want to go to high net worth. I want to ascend up to high net worth, right? And this is a common kind of like, track that's being provided. So, but to me, I just really want to find out from you, because to me, it's like, just because someone say, well, high net worth doesn't mean that high net worth people want to meet or want to work with you, unless you are of a certain caliber, right?
Of course.
So I want to share with me and share with us a little bit more about how your journey of like, get to meet these people and then kind of build that kind of relationship and trust, such that like you have such amazing clientele right now.
Okay, I would say that I've been very privileged. There have been a few anchor people who have helped me open the doors along the way. So, for example, I have close friends who are in other parts of the industry, and we respect each other as experts in our own field, and we sort of have clients who have various different needs. So, example, I have a GI broker friend. So for him, his clientele, when they need personal insurance, he'll refer to me. Then at the onset of my career, when I don't do GI, I will refer my clients to him for GI. So we have a nice working relationship, cross-referral. And through that, of course, we get to know more different level kind of clientele. So that's one. And I will also say that it's a little bit to do with social circles as well. There are a good group of my friends who grew up to become lawyers. So naturally, when I hang out with them, I get to know their fellow friends who are lawyers. Yeah, but to get them to refer you for work would be different. They need to know that you are a serious person, you know what you're doing, you've got a good head above your shoulders, and you stand for certain values. I think that people at a higher level look very deeply into the person that they're working with. It's more to do with values matching than, of course, about your ability to do work, the competency.
So values first, then like based on experience, usually it's like, okay, they always look at the values first, then like, okay, whether your competency.
Yeah, the two I think can be in tandem, can be in tandem, but you must have. You must have. If not, how do you? I mean, they need to be able to find it comfortable to speak to you, have a level of trust that you're competent in your work, and of course, when challenged, you must be able to rise up to the occasion. Okay, I put it to you this way: your ability to manage claims is also important. So for the law guys, right?
Yeah.
I think that if you are able to talk similar lingo, there's that ability to connect. Yeah. So for me, for example, I sometimes will read contractual wording.
Right.
And then I will think through in my mind, can this interpretation be challenged, for example? Then when we understand scope of cover, do we read deeper into definitions, wording, So for example, one of the fun things that I did, right, was that I have a friend from my younger days who is now a medical specialist and oncologist. So then I show him the wordings whenever we have a critical illness change definition.
Right.
Yeah, and then I would discuss with them to understand from a doctor's viewpoint what this change actually means. Because for us, when we read the document, we may not know the actual statistics. To, for example, this critical illness that's being scoped out, due to the change, just how high frequency do they see it happening out there in the space of practice. So I think that learning in this way is important as well. Clients like it when you're constantly reading, constantly evolving, constantly improving, because the high net worth clientele is always about challenging yourself to grow, right? Yeah, so they are able to respect professionals, in every scope of field. So you need to ask yourself, how can you be known as one? Yeah, so don't just read, don't just take everything at face level. You need to do a little bit of homework on your own.
Right.
Yeah, and then be able to understand, how people work, how to motivate them to help you, be part of the process of delivering a good service. Yeah, so you need to position yourself in that kind of way.
Wow, this is deep. And I mean, kind of like reason why I asked the question. So it's also because like there are a lot of people, not that it's wrong, right? But a lot of advisors when they do business or conduct business, it's very a little more transactional, right? Transactional in the sense whereby they still do things right, ethical. It's just that okay, sign then okay, see you, then maybe see you 2 years later. You know, like there's no that kind of relationships that's being built, right? You know, so based on experience, we be fair to say that like of course relationships, the trust that you have, and then also the values, right, are one of the core key or couple of pillars that is way more important than just knowing how to sign an agreement or knowing how to make a claim.
Yeah, I think that the signing part, right, there is definitely a certain level of importance when you work with people who are tight on time. They want you to be good, fast, and accurate.
Right.
So you don't have like a lot of ding dong for your paperwork, and then you don't be not sure about why you do certain things. You know, that kind of thing. You need to get it right. Yeah. Then the rest of it, in terms of relationship building, I think it does matter when people know that you care. It does matter when you're able to connect with them and understand their needs at a deeper level, because we need to be able to draw these information out and help the client to recognize just where the gaps are. So this is also a skill set, right? How do you relate to the crowd and help them to see things after understanding their positions, you know? So it's a skill set. It's soft skill. Then how do you manage a relationship is also a skill. But of course we have systems that can help you. You know, we have certain templates that can help you explain certain things better. Yeah, so I think you, as an advisor, you need to decide, okay, how far you want to go to deliver service as well. Yeah, what do you stand for to the client? Yeah, so clients know that we have them in our heart. If anything happens, they can call, you know, they can ask for help. They need to feel comfortable to be able to call you, you know. Yeah, then of course we are the topic expert, right? So sometimes they go in the hospital, I don't know what I bought. I don't know how. It's natural. It's natural. So we need to also recognize that when they call us, of course, it's because they are in a state where they really need you to comfort and to allay their fears, and yet be able to give good technical knowledge as to how their policy or product applies in that particular situation. Yeah, then we need to know the systems or how to talk to the people on the hospital side to help them manage the processing, for example. Yeah, these are all important.
And based on what you said just now, then it's really kind of like, you know, an advisor would play more than just an advisory role, which is like kind of playing a friend role, so right? You know. So
An advisor is a guide, right?
yeah,
You guide them in their life, you guide them in their monetary aspect. Yeah, but you need to see how the client dance with you. If let's say that the client draws a line at a certain point, then you don't cross that boundary.
okay.
Because every individual
Yeah,
has
okay,
a
that's
different
true.
space
Yeah.
that they feel comfortable to allow others into. We need to respect that. And also we need to know when not to encroach.
Yeah. Oh, I
Okay.
like that. It just hit like a dopamine part of my brain, which is like, yeah, it's like, I think sometimes, you know, some people are always like about building relationship, you know, wanting to know you a lot and everything else. But there are some people, you know, on the other party, it's like, there's always this boundary, right? And I think, like you mentioned just now, it's like respecting that boundary,
Yes.
you know. Oh, wow. Yeah. Okay, that's great. So, are you curious, Kim, obviously you have a lot of clients, right? How many do you have, like 800, 700?
Yeah, about 800.
100, right? So like it's a lot, you know, and I know you're very big on like, you know, delivering a good service to clients, right? How do you manage so many clients and then, you know, always striving your best to deliver a consistent service to them? Like, is it just only hiring a team? You know, what are some of the key things, you know? that you
Yeah,
can
okay.
get?
This one I would say is really an art in itself. So you need to be able to manage people. You need to be able to also have help. Yeah, you need system support. So to have good system support will alleviate the stress of being able to be answering a query from the client out the blue, right? Within a 10-minute, 15-minute time frame. Okay, so you need support. Yeah, and then the rest of it is, of course, you must know your work well, so you can interpret it quite soon. Then the touching base with client,
Yep.
I think that we need a regular system to manage the workflow. So you know, okay, who have you not touched base with for how long? Then you just have them come up in the process of fixing appointments. And along the way, as the industry adapts, you also need to be nimble enough to change strategy for a specific season, for example, if there's a good product that addresses a specific market. Yeah, so I think that it takes a team to serve clients to this level. It takes a team. It's not just me alone.
Right. So
Yeah.
you have like what, 2, 3, like how many like people do you have on the team? Like, is it PAs and whatnot to have? with
Yeah,
you?
so we have a system for which we store all our scanned copies of clientele. We know exactly what they have because we have their policy summaries. And then we have systems that we can go online to check real-time data, of course. And then the rest of it is how much help you want to place along the way. Yeah, to what level. So some people help draw out information for you. If you have a good system, then you can click on it yourself. And then if you have to a CRM
Yep.
to help you see, okay, who have you touched base with, who have you not. I would say it's not to perfection, but it still can be further improved. So I'm still looking and examining it from time to time and say, how can we do things better? Yeah, but be always open-minded to changes. That's what I say. Like getting on Facebook as a means of giving information is also a suggestion that came from one of my beloved clients.
Legit, meaning say what? Like you want to share like updates or what? Like
Yeah,
when you say on
industry
Facebook?
updates that's more general, you
on
know.
on Facebook.
Yeah. So I have my work Facebook page, which I introduce to my clients
Yeah.
that they can like and follow. So when I do have announcements related to like the general everybody kind of announcement, then I put it up there lah. Yeah, so like the other time there was an article that came out in the newspapers about how the CPF board was transiting people from ElderShield to CareShield Life, and then most people were receiving some awkwardly coined message,
Yeah.
right? So I was broadcasting it on my Facebook one day before the newspaper article came out. And you know why? Because within that same day, I received a few queries. I know already, okay, this will be an issue.
Okay.
So I just write it out. Then
Oh, that's
next day, we did the Straits Times published an article
Yeah.
to say exactly what I said on my posting. So the thermometer, the radar, you know.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so
Okay,
I can send
okay.
some of these
Yeah.
things and then update.
Yeah.
Or for example, on our part of the industry, we have mergers, right?
Mm.
Mergers and acquisitions. So I can also put that out as an announcement. And then there was one time we posted because one of the insurers decided to go paperless. Then you know lah, everybody's so busy about their daily life. Even
Yeah.
one letter they forget to open, they forget to read.
Yeah.
After that they're like, how come I don't receive letters anymore?
Correct.
So if I post a general notice like this, then they know what's going on,
Yeah.
right? Or for example, critical illness definition is going to change. All these are more general messages that's applicable to each and every person. But you don't want to be seen to be bombarding people,
Okay.
right?
Yeah.
But yet, we have that role, right,
Yeah.
to educate. Now, how do you strike that balance? So to me, one of these solutions is a good balance. So if you are wanting updates, okay, you sign on, then you occasionally read a
just
little bit.
take a look
This has
lah.
happened, that has happened, you know?
Okay, that's right.
Yeah,
Yeah. Wow.
yeah.
I'm just curious, Kim, and I'm probably sure that you've been through this before. Have any client come and make noise at you and then come and knock on the door and say, hey, Kim, why you blah, blah, blah? Right? What was that kind of like incident and how do you kind of resolve that? Because one of the things that I think very under talked about, right, is like
Service
correct.
recovery,
Service recovery,
okay?
right? Yeah. So it's like it's always about like, people okay, acquire a client, do the quarterly updates. Then after that, like when client make noise, hey, why my ILP funds going down? Or like, hey, why you say this one? Then why I cannot claim whatever? Yeah, like what's kind of like your
Very good.
mental framework or even model processes to kind of like
Okay.
service recovery?
Very good, very good. Okay, so first thing I will say is this. We need to know what happened. Then we need to find out the truth as to how things went this way, be able to account for it, and then to make right. So there are parts of this process. Now, everybody is a human being.
Yep.
So no human being is perfect. There's no 100%. So there will be times when things don't meet up to expectations for sure. But what do we do under those circumstances is very important, right? Example, there was one time we put in an application, and then after that I'm thinking, so what's the status of our application?
Yeah.
Then I check my PA. My PA say, no, don't have. And I'm like, no, we signed. I pass you the document to do up the rest of the process. And then, no, we didn't. And then that time there were two of them. So A says to B, really? Then B says, no, don't have. Then I'm the one that insisted, yes, have. Okay, then in the end, I said, both of you search your tables, please. Did something drop somewhere, not knowing, yeah, right? Sometimes things slip, right? And we don't know because it slipped through, right? Where did it go, right? Then after a while, BAA search the table. No, 老板 confirm 没有，不在我这边。Okay, B, my memory said don't have, sure don't have. Okay, then in the end, A went to search B's table and found.
Okay.
But promo over already.
Right.
Form expired already. What to do? Okay, of course your heart is pop, 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 right?
Yeah.
I tell myself, our fault. My teammates' fault means my fault. Okay, so first thing, recognize your position. If my PA make mistakes, I'm responsible. So I have to own up to it. So I called the client and said, I'm so sorry, but we discovered this issue. Your application hasn't yet been processed. This is what transpired. I apologize that we missed the deadline for the promotion, but please allow me to make good. Can I come down and re-sign an updated PI and redo the form, and then I'll put it through for you? The next best thing I can do is really just to make sure that this plan is set in place. As we agreed, it would serve this purpose, that purpose, etc. Then I say, I apologize. And next up, please allow me to offer you compensation from my own pocket for the promotion that you missed. Because the fault is on our part. I sincerely apologize. Thankfully, the client was happy. We went down, and then she said, yeah, okay, I understand, but shouldn't be like that. I said, yes, okay. We did the whole thing, and really I paid out of my own pocket. Yeah, but the client is still with us. You know, I think that we need to take ownership of things. We need to learn to be responsible. So if things go wrong and truly it's our fault, okay, we need to say so. But if it's not, because there are some situations where it's not, then you need to manage very carefully. So example, I had one claim scenario. Client suddenly got very upset about me putting in a claim and how the insurer is calling her to check a lot of things. And then I got a big shock when she called me and said, okay, Khim, going forward, you deal with A company's claims. B companies, I'll handle on my own. I'm like, 为什么这么奇怪的呢? Then she sounded so agitated and upset. Then I was thinking, okay, first, if I'm dealing with somebody who's going through a health issue, let's understand. Of course, they're upset. They are in a different mode because their health is not in a good state. So we, 不要太跟人家计较, Okay, our role is to help. Yeah. And next thing, I'm like, I'm putting in a claim for assessment. And she said, you shouldn't have put it in. Now insurers are asking a lot of questions. You should have checked. And if it doesn't even qualify for a claim, don't bother. Whereas I told her that based on my experience, I realized that sometimes certain things that we feel cannot be claimed actually can be claimed. So that's why I'm not doing the role of the back-end claims assessor. I am not the claims assessor in order to not disadvantage my client anyway. I would rather just try, and if they fail, I try, right? So to me, that's doing our best. So I think that I shouldn't be upset with myself for trying. Yeah, but of course I got someone who's upset with me, and her conclusion is, now people are calling me asking about my declarations back then, etc., etc., etc. Then, so I helped with one insurance claim, which successfully went through, and the other one that she subsequently took over to manage on her own did not go through. But the reason was because, the lump was smaller by 1 mm than the so-called approved size as per definition. Okay? Yeah, so it's this kind of a situation. Then subsequently along the way, it was made known to me that, she was grappling with some issues with respect to what she disclosed to me.
Right.
Yeah, so then of course, the puzzle is solved, right? But I tell myself, it's all right. I need to understand the client's position. She was jittery. She was in a bad mood. She was upset. She was upset lah.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. But I need to ask myself, what do I want to focus on? If the fault is not mine, am I going to scold her or anything? No, I'm not. But what do I want out of it? Do I still want the relationship? I do.
Okay.
I do. And I would still want to continue helping her. And in the end, she acknowledged the work that I did for policy A. She sent me a text, in fact, to say that she's thankful I asked her to keep that policy, which was based on old definition, which is why we are able to claim.
That requires a lot of empathy, though.
Yes, it does.
Kim, like from
It
what I hear
does.
from you, because it's like when when one make a mistake, it's easier to like, oh shit, it's my fault. Then you take responsibility and then just service recovery, like you mentioned, right? But on the other hand, when you personally feel and even factually, right, like you didn't do anything wrong, and then like you get attacked or you get like
Stay cool. Stay calm. Know what you did and did not do. If you did not do wrong, no need to admit anything. Just keep quiet. The truth will come to light. Just keep quiet. That's my stand. Yeah, it's okay because sometimes clients forget what they said.
Yeah, that's true.
Of course, it is important as an advisor and good to have some proof, for example, on your hands. If you have some level of proof, then you don't. But the way you show the client that they are in the wrong, also you can do it gently.
Yeah.
you don't need to "Pia" in your face. Ben, you're wrong. Versus, hey, Ben, you take a look. Ben, you take a look.
Yeah.
It's two different things, right? So focus. What is it that you want? You want to tell the client they are wrong, but at the same time, you still want the relationship. So there's a way to do it. You cannot just hey, 你错了，那看到没有
Send
right? So cannot, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so there's a gentle way to approaching it.
I think some people 觉得委屈, it's like you make noise at me, I didn't do it wrong, then you just like whack and
Of
everything else.
course. Yeah, but 委屈 there will be. But it comes with the role because you are dealing with something that's so close to people's heart. Right? So occasionally it will happen, but moderate yourself, moderate your feelings. Don't let it affect your day. As long as you know that you've done right, okay.
Yeah.
If you have done wrong, please have the courage to say sorry.
That's true. Have you ever dropped anyone or not, Kim? Like, even you go through the service recovery, let's say, regardless whether it's your fault or not, but the client is just like raining hell on you, right? To the extent that no matter what you do, like there's no effect. Have you ever dropped a client before and say like, hey, I understand what you're feeling, but I don't appreciate the things that you said, and then like F off.
Okay. I have gone to the point of telling the client, look, if what I've done is not enough for you, it's all right. Let me know when you find a next suitable person, and I'll make sure everything is transferred nicely to the other party.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yes, but maybe only once.
Wow. Okay, but that's a good way of...
Yeah, maybe only once.
But but that's a good way of
Because I felt that I'm
delivering it.
at my
Yeah.
wit's end already. I think that I've given my best, and if my best is not enough, then this is the way it has to be.
Would an advisor, let's say right now, does this, right? Would they have a, because I think a lot of advisors sometimes they do want to, basically in short, 他们要讲, hey, I don't want to be an advisor anymore, right? Since I do all the things, it's not good enough for you, go and find another one, right? In short, that's what I don't say. But sometimes they're also afraid of, because you, technically, I don't know if it's still true, but technically you cannot just like, I don't want this client, then you sign to the firm and say, hey, ask this client to
Yeah, you
get out, right? You
can't.
can't, right? It's like, they need to transfer to another. You also
Correct.
cannot automatically, 这个 pass 给这个人嘛. It's like the client needs to choose, right? So one thing that I think a lot of people are afraid, right, is that let's say they come to the wit's end and really can't deal with it, and then it's like, but then they worry that if they ask the client to find another person, they might get complaint, that kind of stuff.
I think that as a professional, you must still continue to do your best whilst the person is under your charge officially. That is an attitude that you need to choose to carry so that you don't get yourself into trouble where all these legalities are concerned. But the client should be made known of the fact that, if the minds are not meeting, then maybe they really want to find someone else. And if you're prepared to say that, you have to be prepared to let go.
Right.
Yeah. So I think that we should focus on what we can do, and then you need to answer only to yourself in that kind of a sense that you have done your best. And if the best is not enough, then that's it. We only apologize that it's not enough for the client.
Wow. This is so important, Kim.
Because it's about fit, right?
Yeah.
You need to be happy with the client needs to be happy with you.
But is it a luxury though, a privilege that one can only have after they have a certain number of clients, and stuff like
No,
that?
not quite.
Because a lot of people is like, beginning like first 2 years, you got quote unquote choose your client, right? Like they always say, what
I
are your
will
thoughts?
say this. I will
Yeah.
say this. Managing clients is a skill set, right?
Yeah.
If let's say I'm okay at the onset, yes, it's difficult to choose. But if the wrong person comes along and you spend too much time just handling someone that just doesn't like you, you're better off without that one person, because you would then free up time to do other work. So think about it this way: it's about a fit as well. Yeah, it's about fit. But let us not be too easy to go down that route to let go of people, because I think that that's my view. We are in the service line. So we try not to do that kind of a decision where possible, because there's repercussion, etc. But you need to be reasonable. Right? You need to be reasonable to look at, have I tried sufficiently to make things work? Yeah, so if I've tried sufficiently and really it's just a matter of chemistry, then I think it's wiser to let go. Yeah.
Do you qualify them before, do you explicitly qualify people, meaning say, right, for example, it's like maybe you meet a particular prospect and they say like, hey, Benna, this is what I do, this is what I don't do, these are the people that I work with, that kind of stuff. Yeah, do you do that though? Do you do that though? Or is it more like a subtle, then the internal sensing, and then you see how it's like, how is it for your own process?
Ben, this is a very good question. Okay, I'll say this. At the onset, not really. Okay. Now, I also say I don't really do so. But we really are at a situation where we don't have a lot of time. So we have to make a choice sometimes. Yeah. So it's really how you plan your work. So to me, growing the support team and growing a team means that we can serve better. Yeah. So you need to make a judgment call as an advisor what to do. Yeah. Then you need to ask yourself, okay, are you only going to serve a specific market, for example? Then I would say this: if you can manage the balance well, there's room to serve a certain segment of the market, just as part of giving back to society. You know what I mean?
Okay.
But you must have that balance. Yeah. So I don't really choose per se, and I believe that everyone needs help, but I need to be able to manage that balance well in order to be in a state to say so.
That's true. Yeah, because you if you take on too many of you don't have the bandwidth, energy,
Correct.
and everything
Correct.
else to deal
Yeah.
with it. So you know, Kim, I just segue. I love one of the things you said just now. It's just like stood out to me was like, you know, you talk about like expanding a team, whether is it a support team or whether, you know, having your own like team of FCs and everything else,
Yes.
right? One of the things you mentioned was like, you know, expand the team so that we can serve other better and serve others well.
Yes.
You know, was that also by any chance kind of like your principle or your thought process before moving on to management? Because we have spoken before, you know, you never really like, you don't want to be a director of like 150 people, you know, like that kind, right? You're just you just want to be producer, be Khim, be who you are, you know, really serve others in your own different ways also, in different capacities.
Yes.
Which, you know, some of the capacity that you hold might be more important than just being a director, you know what not, right? So that's something that is respectable. But is that kind of thought process, you know, when okay, now that I'll have a team or like you're gonna expand and people join you and everything else, was that like a, you know, the thought process like, okay, I do this because we want to serve more people well, versus, you know, some, not that's wrong, but some people will just be, when you go on management, it's like, I want to be a team so that I can earn 2 million a year and then like Kelka. Not that's wrong, you know what I mean? Yeah, but like share with me a little bit more.
I think that there's a need for a different group of advisors within the industry who have the heart for the business, but also the mind for it. So you need to have a heart for the people out there, and also that ability, that competence to do analytics. So when you have these two, I think it's a very strong combination. Yeah, my focus now is to groom a generation of people who can focus in striking this good balance so that they can help more people out there. I think that it calls for a different character to recognize the need to be a difference, make a difference within the industry, to contribute to various stakeholders. So be it the insurers, for example, who are designing products for the market, how are we helping them? Yeah. Or the end consumers, when it comes to claims, how are we helping them? Yeah. So you need to have the right heart to be able to serve. And there's only one of me, but of course if I groom one more, two more, three more, four more, then we can just have fun together doing good, you know. And I believe that when your heart is like this, there's no issue with money.
That's what I believe also. That's why I truly 100%, like 200% agree with you. You know,
I think
it's like,
clients can feel,
yeah,
right? Clients can feel,
yeah,
and they know why, right? So if they want to support this because they know you're like this,
yeah.
right?
Oh,
That if
so
there's
good, so
injustice, you
Yeah,
speak
so
up,
good,
you know,
yeah.
and you try to make things right
Yeah.
for people who may be misunderstood by the whichever platform provider, etc. You know,
I love that. Yeah.
because we are the gap, we are bridging the gap.
Yeah, so good. You know what's funny? Let me mention about this, right? Which is like, you know, I do like qualifying, disqualifying. You know, when I onboard a prospect advisor into our community, right? One of the key points was like, if this is for you, if you truly believe and want to serve others with a heart. On the other hand, it's not for you if you only care about money. Right?
Yep.
Now, not that money is not important, right? You got to pay the bills, have a better
Yes,
living.
of course.
But I also believe that like if we can truly serve and value others, money will never. It's like an intended. Like it's the more you do the serving part, right? Then the money will come along with you on it. Like 你不可能少啊。
不可能的，人家找你的，
Yeah, exactly, right?
人家追你的，
100%.
不是 the other way around.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think that you know, advisors sometimes ask the question, hey, where to find leads?
Yeah.
No, please lah. Do the right
All the
thing,
time,
the leads
yeah.
will come.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
because you need to be one of those that show that you have the heart.
You know what they will counter? They're like, Khim, I understand. But, and then like all the reasons come in. Yeah, you know, I agree because like everybody will come and say, hey, of course I always ask in the forms, right? What's the main problem, main challenge? Appointments, leads issue, shortage of leads, whatever, blah, 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 right? You know, not that it's like objectively, yes, you know, that you lack of leads, But then the action steps is just more like, have you meet enough people to find a problem that you can really value add, even if at the initial stage you might not get truly paid right on set. Right? Because you can do that, again, service and value, the money, even if you want to like do a indirect ask, hey, now I've done this, would you like to, right? I think people are way more receptive because
Yes.
we have helped them in the first place.
Yeah, then you need to remember that when you do a solid job, they stick with you for a lifetime. And then they think about the people that they truly care about, and then they will refer to you, right? Or they will speak for you in somewhere out there. So that day my client told me, Khim, I'm so appreciative of what you did for us, although you processed one application already, because this product came out in the market and it's such a good product comparatively speaking. You actually bother to come back and alert us and redo the whole process again. Then because of that, he said he put my details up in their like maternity group of all the mummies who
Wow.
have babies giving birth at the same time,
Damn.
and spoke about the experience. I said, oh wow, I'm so thankful for this thing that you did for me. Then he said, yeah, we are very thankful to have you. And it made my day. It made my day.
Wow, that's beautiful. Yeah, amazing. Yeah. So Kim, anyway, because we're gonna run out of time for yourself as well. I would love that this foundation one. I had 2 hours. It's amazing. Like, I feel like we just barely started. Like, getting into there. So I'm just curious because like, at least to me, my own exposure right now, I don't really know too many people who are like more than 20, 30, 50 years in the business, right? So one of the things I would love to find out, right, is like if you look back at your last 23 years, what would you say would be kind of like the biggest lesson or the one that's most impactful, not only in work but in your life, in the last 23 years in this career or in this business for you?
Choose the right environment. Choose the right environment. Make sure that the values that you have are in sync to a good degree. Of course, there's no 100%, to a good degree with the people that directly affect your work. Yeah, you need to manage your environment, then you can do well.
You saying that, I am guessing that there are times and situations in your career that you have been in environments that are not that positive.
Let's skip that part of the story. Yeah.
How do one find that though? So I do have advisors come and ask me and they tell me about like the environment not the most. I won't even say positive. I think it's that's really to the extreme of toxic, right? But sometimes you also scared to take a leap of faith to the next environment because in this industry where we all know how to sell the dream, right? Agency leaders on the other side know how to sell it, and sometimes they don't want to have this idea of like, okay, the grass is greener on the other side until you reach the other side, then you realize it's all shit, right? So if someone were to choose and make a conscious decision to leave, whether it's the agency or a company, to somewhere else, what would be some of the things that they can have a little bit more assurance? Of course, need to talk to the AL, need to, talk to a lot of people. But what's some of the assurance or what some of the things that you, if let's say someone has asked you for this advice, right, what will you say to them and what will you ask them to watch out for to kind of have a better certainty that, okay, 这个 environment, 这个人 is pretty okay, 不可能差到哪里去 even if it goes wrong?
Wow. I think you need to have your own network within your current space. If you, of course, have the network of the space that you're going into, you can ask other parties who may not be directly linked to your decision, but who also have the opportunity to work with these people. You can ask them. Yeah, so ask for feedback from people on the ground who have worked with these parties before. Because you need to be able to see a person. You don't want to just see what they project to you. You want to see who they are for real. Or if they give you a chance to speak to their current team member. Just get an idea of what the person is like for real, Yeah, so I think these are bits that you can do. But there's no real 100% to doing the work and checking. So there's still the element of faith that you will only find out after you join the person, Yeah. So I don't think there's a way to 100% fact check, but at least do some groundwork. Use your network within the industry and ask them whether you know this person, have you heard this person, what is this person like, are they, what do we know about them, things like that.
Okay.
No?
Yeah. Because there are people that switch from one company to another and then go to another.
Oh dear.
Like 4 times, like, not, I mean, if you are here for 30 years, 4 times, it's still pretty okay, right? But they did it within like 1.5 years, Like, there are 4 changes. So you count the number of times, and then, not everybody's like you. So their RNF to re-RNF is like 2 months. So the thing about the RNF, right? So, and all within like 1.5 to 2 years, and, when I hear the stories they're telling me, they say, they go over there and then it's not what they promise, blah, blah, so on and so forth, right? Yeah. But then again, right? Fun fact, just a funny thought I had, which is like, if you shift to so many within a short span of time, right? Maybe the problem isn't with the agency, maybe the problem is with you, right?
Yeah. So it's fair for clients to ask when you make very quick successive moves.
Yeah.
What is happening is fair for them to ask. So you yourself as an advisor should also be in the know that you try not to change too much. So you need to do a good level of groundwork. And of course, on your own also, don't sweat some small things. Incidents there will be, but learn to talk it out. Learn to talk it out and work it out. Unless it's something really very big, then you decide to move, I guess.
Okay. Yeah.
Don't be too quick to move as well.
Yeah.
Huh? There's a
I
balance
agree.
there.
I agree. I think basically, one of the things you said just now was like, if there's a fundamental misalignment, like
Yes.
ethics and core values,
Correct.
I think that really calls for a greater necessity to think whether to change or not, right? But if it's like differing opinions, there's a bit of conflict, then, like, just need to learn how to manage that, right? Because
Yes,
anywhere you
yes,
go, you
correct,
have to
correct.
manage that. Yeah, okay, it's great. That's great. So, Kim, last question, and this is something I always ask, like, for all the podcasts and all the people I interview, right? Which is, knowing what you know now, and then going back 23 years when you first joined the industry, like, what would be the one thing that you would do differently?
I would be less shy. Yeah, I was more shy at the onset of my career. So
You'll be less shy.
yes, less shy, and have less questioning on how to approach people.
Right.
Yeah, now I don't even think.
What made you say so? Like, what made you feel like, okay, you should be less shy? And
I think at the onset, we always have this question of how to balance your social circles with this work that you do, which is often misunderstood. So I think that I was really very worried about balancing this part. I think that I could have been less worried and be more gutsy, but I could have sent the same messaging out.
Right.
Yeah, because I assure my friends at the onset that, look, I value the friendship, but this is my work. I'll be glad if you give me an opportunity to present.
Right.
I just want to make sure that where this aspect of your life is concerned, you're done well, and if we are okay, I will let it be. But if I can add value, and only if you see and are in agreement that that is so, then we can work something out. But there's no pressure on your end to support me just simply because I'm a friend.
Yeah.
But I hope you understand that as a friend, if something were to happen to you, I do feel it. Yeah, so I felt that I was more worried than I necessarily need to be.
Right.
So there was a lot of overcoming that self part before I was like, "Aiya,
It's great. And they just ask like, just
yeah lah,"
refresh.
because we are doing good for other people. You know what I mean? But it's a very
Wow.
mistaken profession that we're in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. How long do you take, like, to overcome that bit by bit, such that you're like, screw it, anyone, just go, and then you go and ask and do your approaches?
Wow, I would say quite a number of years, maybe 2-3 years actually. I thought I should have done it faster.
Right.
Yeah, I should have done it faster.
So the main so what was really exactly like the main fear? Was it like losing the social circle, or at least part of it, if you do the approach?
I think my fear was being misunderstood. Yeah, misunderstood. Because only I can vouch for my own heart, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. But I mean, I love all my friends, right? The community. Then I'm thinking, okay, how best to do this? But we have to acknowledge it is still a highly, it's a profession that people have some stigma about.
Yeah, 100%. Right.
Yeah, so the question is just how to handle that. But after being in this field for 20 over years, it's a very noble job. Yeah, and you have that ability to give help that is tremendous at people's time of need. Yeah, their time of need. So now to me it's wow, this is the role we play. We can even help people find the right medical professions. This is the level of help that we can render. Yeah. So I think that it's not really a job. It's a calling.
Yeah, indeed.
It's a calling. And you do sacrifice, because you're almost on call 24/7, right? You can't predict when, who happens
That's true.
to, what happens to who, when, Yeah. So it's a calling. It's a calling. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Khim.
No worries. Thanks, Ben, for having me.
Yeah, thank you.